Okay, welcome back. We're now on to project number 14. And for project number 14, what we're going to be seeing are not only having our lamp holder, which is going to, in box number 1, which we're going to kind of skip over and then come right back with our power. And that does a lot of variation with our wiring, primarily. Something that was brought up in previous videos, and but we have yet to see it, and that is what's called flagging a neutral wire. Now, keep in mind that when it comes to color coding, it's very important that we're not scrambling up neutral wires with a hot wire, because we hate to be taking apart a junction box or a switch box and start cutting wires and accidentally come across a neutral wire that's been mislabeled. It's showing neutral, however you cut it, and it's actually a live wire, a hot wire, in fact. So we're going to do this a couple of times between these boxes here, because what we're seeing is, despite having a 12-3 cable, you're going to be left with a choice in some scenarios where you have to be able to transform that neutral and make it a hot. And by doing so, have the proper labeling, and that is the flag that's going to be attached to this neutral that identifies that neutral wire as being a hot wire. Very important as far as as far as our color coding goes, but also from a safety perspective, those that are going to be doing that wiring. So in box number 1, we'll have our lamp holder, and boxes 2 and 3 are going to have our three-way switches, which will then transfer that control of power back over to box 1, where our lamp holder will be. So how do we go about wiring these appliances? Start off with something easy, okay? And we're going to start with our wiring in box number 1. But since the lamp holder is going to be our finish line, I'm not going to start with that lamp holder. Instead, I'm going to transfer that energy over to that first appliance controlling that lamp holder in box number 2. So I'm going to transfer that power, take our black wire, and keep your colors consistent so that way you don't get yourself crossed up. So I'm going to have our black wire from the power in, get tied in, tie a wire nut with the black wire that goes between boxes 1 and 2. Okay, now wiring in our first appliance, and that is our first three-way switch. And again, the first terminal that you're going to be tying in, that's the power being transported to the appliance. It's the terminal that will be receiving the power, and that's going to be the first common, the black terminal. The 2 gold terminals, or your 2 brass terminals, those are your travelers. Travelers connect to other travelers. Travelers are not used as your power that's going in. Those travelers are used as just transporting that power between the 2 three-way switches. Now we connect travelers from box 2 to the travelers in box number 3. Got a black wire, we got a red wire. Okay, now here's where we can get things rather complicated, because with the 12-3 you only have, not counting the ground, you only have 3 wires. The black, the red, those are your hots. This last one here is your neutral, your white wire. We don't have any neutrals between these 2 switches. Plus, I'm kind of left stranded right now with this common in order to take that energy, take that power, and relay it back over to my lamp holder. So a little bit complicated. I need that 3rd hot wire, and here's how. This is where the flagging comes in. I take a piece of electrical tape, I wrap it around my neutral wire, leaving a little rectangle off of my neutral so it looks like a flag. Okay, so I have my flag neutral, making it a hot wire. Guys can be able, anybody else or even myself, if I were to take apart this switch box and do any kind of work, over time I may forget that, hey, I have a neutral here. What kind of power is it? Well, with that flag right there, I can know that it is a hot wire. And it's the same neutral wire, just showing up in box number 2. I'm going to do the same thing. We'll flag it. So that way it's made a hot wire. And I'm transporting that power that's controlled by the 2 3-way switches. This is power coming from box number 3. Going to relay it through box number 2. Going to connect my flag neutral to my red wire at this point. So there's my flag neutral. And at this point, I go ahead and start wiring together my my lamp holder. So now I have my last wire I put together with the lamp holder, just the neutral that leads back over to my power in. And at this point, last thing to take care of is just wiring your grounds. And there we have it. Our power's going in. Power's moved over to box number 2 on our first 3-way switch. It is then relayed between the two between our travelers on the 3-way switches. We're then changing our neutral by flagging it, making it a hot wire, and that neutral will then, hot neutral, will then go to box number 2 where our other flag neutral. Notice I flagged both sides of this neutral between both boxes. That way I know, it doesn't matter if I open up one or the other, I'll know that there is a flag neutral. I'll know that it's hot. That flag neutral then is relayed to this red wire back over to our lamp holder, allowing us to be able to control our light, our lamp holder, between our two 3-way switches. And that concludes project number 14.